This is tutorial 2-7, creating fishnet maps in the GIS tutorial 1 basic workbook. You're going to want to start off by opening up the tutorial 2-7 MXD. So just go up to the open button and browse to the GIST1 folder, then into maps, and then open up 2-7. Once again, my extent is a little bit further out than it should be, so I'm going to zoom in. Once you have your map situated, we're going to have to find the fishnet calculations Excel sheet. And for me, it was in the Windows C drive, as you press GIST1 in the data folder, and in another folder called data files, and it's more towards the bottom. So you're just going to want to double click that to open it, and what you're going to get is this. Now where you see top and bottom, right and left, these are coordinates. So if we go back to our map and come over here, and I believe we're supposed to go up to the very top and see that it's about 4.7 million. Let's look in here, and it's right. Down here we're at, seems to be the lowest, which is about 4.39 million. So let's look at this, and I was very close. So you can see that the coordinates are matching up. So why is this important? Well, we're going to use these coordinates to place our grid, which is called the fishnet. Now the issue that they're having is that the cell size of 30,000 is just too big. So if we used 30,000 cell size, we would only have 11 cells going up and 17 going across. Let's change this to 10,000. Now you can see that we're going with a grid that is 33 by 51. They tell you to save and close the Excel workbook. I'm just going to close it. I'm not going to save it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use the search window to find the fishnet tool. My search window is right over here, but if that wasn't available to you, you'd want to go up to Windows and then choose Search. And in here you're going to type in fishnet and then enter. And you can see that there's a tool called Create Fishnet. Now I'm going to show you how to use the toolbox to find it. So I'm going to shrink that, and I'm going to press the Arc toolbox at the top of the window. So this is the Arc toolbox, and I'm just going to paste it over here, and actually I'm going to grab this and place it. So now they're tabbed, because I use these a lot, so it's nice to have them all in one place where I can go back and forth. Now for version 10.6.1, to find the Create Fishnet tool, you're going to go to Data Management Tools and expand it. Then you're going to go down to Sampling, and you can find it here. This tool has changed locations a few times depending on the version. So if you don't have it in a sampling toolbox, then you're going to want to use the search function. So I'm going to open up the tool. Then I'm going to kind of center this and make it a little bit larger so you guys can see. Okay, so that's everything. Now first off, if we come down here, you can click on Show Help, and this will tell you about the tool as well as all the different inputs. And as you can see over here, it changes based off of what input that you're working in. So they want us to browse to our chapter 2 and save this as fishnet .chp. That means it's going to be a shapefile. I'm going to click Save, and they want our template extent to be PA counties. You can see that's already filled in a few of our other options just by choosing that. Or you could manually enter these values. Whenever you see a green dot over here, that means that it's a required field. As you can see, all 4 of these have that. But when I put in my 10,000 for the cell size, height, and width, these no longer become required. You can input data for these, but they're no longer required, and it will just use how many rows and columns it needs to make these. And vice versa. If I put 33 by 51, it would create the cell size based off of those values. You're going to want to make sure that the create label point is checked, and that we want our geometry type to be polygon and not polyline. I'm not sure why polygon is not the default. I've never used the polyline. Then we're going to click OK. Down here you'll get a message on whether it succeeded or did not. The green check mark means it did. So I'm going to go up to geoprocessing and look at results. If I expand this, you're going to see that we had a tool, create fishnet, used. We can see what outputs and what inputs were used, what the environments were, and what messages. It will tell you how long the tool took. This one took 0.75 seconds. Some tools will take much longer. And depending on the number of cells that you're creating, it could take a very long time. So this results window is very useful for determining how quickly your analysis is taking. Now I'm just going to unpin this so it hides. Now notice that we have our fishnet, which are these squares, and then we have points inside each one. Those are the fishnet labels, so we're going to just turn those off, and those can be very useful in some analysis. And we're going to change the fishnet to a hollow fill and a tan outline of your choice. I'm going to click OK. There we go. Then it wants us to move the PA counties above fishnets. Now you can see that there are quite a few of our fishnet cells that are outside of Pennsylvania. Sometimes this isn't an issue, people will leave them in. But if you did a really large study area with very small cell sizes, all those empty cells or useless cells take up a lot of space and can really slow down tools if you're doing some kind of analysis. So a lot of times it is better to get rid of them. And what we're going to do next is delete the unnecessary cells. So we're going to find out what cells actually intersect or overlay the PA counties. So we're going to go up to selection and select by location. You're going to make sure that your method is select features from, and then you're going to choose fishnet, and then our source layer is going to be PA counties, and then you can leave it intersect the source layer feature. Then you can click OK. Now you can see the ones that are highlighted are the ones that we really want. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click our fishnet. We're going to go down to data, export data. By default, if the feature is selected, the export method will be selected features only. You can do all features or all features in current extent, but we're going to keep selected features. Then we're going to browse to our chapter 2 and name this fishnet PA. .shp. Actually, this gives us the option. If you have the option to choose the save as type, you can just change it to shapefile and have no extension. But if you do not have that option, you're going to have to type in .shp. Then I'm going to click OK. And we're going to choose yes that we want to add it to our map. We can now get rid of our original fishnet and just remove it. And now we have our fishnet PA. And we can turn off our PA public schools to get an image that looks just like the book. Next, we're going to spatially join the schools and our fishnet to find out how many schools are in each of our cells. We're going to right-click Fishnet PA and go down to Join and Relates, and then Join. We're going to change the type of join from join attributes from a table to join data from another layer based on spatial location. We're going to choose PA Public Schools, and you're going to make sure that each polygon will be given a summary of the numeric attributes of points that fall inside it and count a field showing how many points fall inside it. Now you can also have it average, sum, find the min and max of other fields, but we're not going to worry about that. We're just worried about actual count. Then we're going to browse to Chapter 2 and save this as fishnet schools .shp. Then we're going to click OK. Now we can remove fishnet PA and we can remove our public schools. A spatial join will create a whole new layer. We're going to open up the attribute table for our fishnet schools. And I can shrink this to fit the data a little bit better. And you can see we have a count field. So each cell has a count of how many schools fall within it. So let's right-click count and do descending. And we have one cell that has 131 public schools in it. And if we go all the way to the bottom, you can see that there are quite a few that have 0 and then 1. We can close the attribute table, and we're going to bring PA counties above our fishnet schools. We're going to double-click fishnet schools to open up the properties and go to the symbology tab. We're going to go to quantities, and we're going to choose count as our field value. We're going to change the classification method from natural breaks to quantile. Then click OK. We can use the white to black, but I'm going to choose something a little bit different. How about that? Kind of matches what the book was using. So I'm going to click OK. Now it's a little hard to see the counties, so I'm going to click on this and make the outline black, and it's still a little bit hard to see, so I'm going to go up to 2. Okay, now we can see it a little bit better. Now you can see what areas have more schools. Let's go back in here and change classes from 5 to 10. Then hit apply. And that'll give us an idea of where the more abundant school areas are. We're going to save our map, and that concludes this video.